Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hello, everybody. Coming Soon podcast here once again, San Antonio, Texas, with my guest, returning guest, Keekee Suki. My man, how are you doing, bro?
How's it going? What's up,
Man, it's
everybody?
going, bro. I'm sorry?
I said, what's going on, everybody? What's going on,
No,
Spider?
yes, bro. And I was gonna say, man, you got on here. You look like you're in a great mood, man. Did you hit the lottery, bro? Because I'm your boy, man. You gotta sponsor me a little bit, man. But tell us, man. I mean, what's been going on since the last time we talked?
So we just finished my first lead in a feature. That'll be out for Halloween on Amazon Prime. So look out for Don't Break the Rules.
Bro. Let me show this real quick just so people can see it, man, because this is the image so they can look for this on Facebook. I mean, as of now, like the trailer is out there, so it's on YouTube, right? They can go check it out.
Yeah. You can check it out on YouTube, NotSoSaneEntertainment.com. And it's going to be something unique. We reviewed the film the other day, and I tell you what, it was interesting to see myself all the way through a movie, not just a cameo or just being a lead character. I mean, being a lead this time is a lot different. And just being a day player we did Dog's Life. We dropped Dog's Life. I think it was like 4 months ago, starring Michael Ocho. And that was a lot of fun. We did a lot. We did a lot in that film. And I think we took 2 weeks to shoot that. But believe it or not, we shot Don't Break the Rules in 4.5 days.
Damn, brother. Okay, and let me ask you this, because a lot of times, I mean, of course, budget. Everybody's like, hey, let's get this knocked out. Scheduling, I'm sure that's always a conflict when it comes to actors. I mean, being reliable and showing up. But 4.5 days, man, I gotta ask you, bro. I mean, were you nervous? I mean, did he tell you like, hey, you know what, 5 days tops?
Honestly, I was nervous more about I'm always more nervous about the review. Yeah. Like when I'm in the moment, but it's more, the nerves really kick in more towards when I'm actually sitting there watching other people's reaction to the film. And I think it's because, I want to give the best I can give every single time I'm on set. And then not just that, as an artist, I want to try to encapsulate a whole nother character, something that somebody hasn't seen of me before. And I feel like this is going to be different for the audience's point of view from the other characters that they see me perform and do. This one's definitely going to give a different element to my creativity.
No, and I was going to ask you too, because I mean, compared to your other movies, I mean, like you said, you've had a lot of cameos. You've been as far as one of the characters in the films, but on this one, like I was going to ask you about that, because you got a little emotional. I mean, there's parts in the trailer where it looks like you had to dig deep and actually bring things that maybe you didn't know you had or you did have, and you were like, you know what, let's make this work, because it looked convincing, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It's funny because it's like I'm not a crier, like in real life, and I rarely get scared. So like having to I thought back, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, what was the last time I was actually really scared, like afraid? And I had to take it all the way back to my childhood when I was digging into this character, because that's honestly the last time that I was actually fearful of my life, where like I had moments where you're a child, the spooky noise isn't, I grew up in Kauai. So in Hawaii, we have an old legend which is called the Night Marchers. And the Night Marchers in Hawaii, it's a group of Hawaiians that still walk their path, and you can hear the drum cadence. But there's two different versions of Night Marchers. One of them is in Oahu, and then the other one is on Kauai. Well, the one in Kauai is a Japanese battalion that died on their march, and you can still hear the dun, 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 and it's super creepy at night when it's like, especially in my house where I live, it would go right behind our house.
Nah. And I'm
So it
gonna
was
ask
kind
you
of cool
because
to dig into those moments, being like, oh, what is that? Oh no.
man, and of course, I mean, those are the times, and I would say this because, I mean, here in San Antonio, man, I grew up here in San Antonio. There's houses that we lived in that we used to see things, apparitions, bro. We used to hear things, and this two-story house that's literally right down the road from where I live now, man. And it was those moments that my mom, I was in middle school. My mom's like, "Oh, go get my purse," and I'm like, "Are you serious, dude? Like, I gotta walk up there, and yeah, man. I mean, there's nothing. For me, I mean, honestly, man, there's nothing scarier than something I can't explain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because it's like, okay, where is it? Where is that coming from? I mean, your mind starts racing. I gotta ask you, bro, because I mean, growing up, I mean, so you did hear these drums as a kid?
Yes, absolutely. My
Wow.
my
Okay.
my friends went and stayed the night at my house. It was that bad.
Wow, man. Okay, okay. Man, yeah, you see that in itself, man. I mean, it's like, I mean, is somebody out there? I mean, yeah, man. I mean, obviously, man. I mean, like I said, you had to dig deep. You had to actually bring some emotions out.
Yeah.
When you say you're not a crier, man, I'm I'm the same way. I always tell people, man. I mean, growing up, I mean, of course, I turned 50 this year, man, and for me, growing up, like, I mean, I grew up in that generation where, like, I didn't even tell my dad I loved him because it wasn't macho, and so I didn't grow up with that, but um, I've noticed, like, even now, like the things that do make me cry are things that have nothing to do with me being afraid or maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it's something that's out of the ordinary. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm crying and I'm like, okay, I got feelings, I'm not there yet, but yeah, but I mean, the same way, I mean, when it comes to like being scared or even now, like, I don't, I'm not saying I don't fear anything, but it's just like, man, I've set my faith, I mean, when it comes to me not being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm that guy. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not leaving the house at 2 in the morning. I mean, why am I gonna be out? So it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, I just got a little bit more cautious. But yeah, man. I mean, of course. So congratulations, brother. This is your first lead, man.
Thank
And
you. Appreciate it.
when you did go back and watch the film, or when you guys sat down and had the screening, I mean, were you more critical about yourself? I mean, were there things in the movie that you were like, man, I wish I would have done this differently?
It's always like that on every single production I do. It's like you think you give 110, and then you sit back and watch it back, and you nitpick yourself to death, saying, "Oh man, if I just turn my head a little bit this angle, or if I had just extended that cry out a little longer, or just taken a beat on a certain moment, like you're always going to be your worst critic." But at the same token, I really did try to give my very best to this production, to especially being my first lead role. I wanted it to be believable, and I wanted it to be something that they would remember me by, so
Nice.
that when I go and add this to my demo reel, it's definitely something they're gonna be, oh, you're that guy.
Nice, brother. And of course, like you said too, man. I mean, it's something that maybe a lot of people haven't seen yet, so they're gonna be like, "Man, you can do that too," So it might even open more doors. I mean, it's just people are watching, and it's like, okay, you know what? Let me get this guy in here, man.
That's the ultimate goal, right?
No, no, for sure, brother. I mean, you guys are doing it, bro. I mean, when it comes to staying busy and staying, active and keeping your name out there. I mean, I know, just like even with networking, man. I mean, you have to do it consistently. If you don't, it might get swept under the rug, or it might be that one day or one week that people are looking and they don't see you because you're not active. But I mean, I see it out there, bro. I mean, a lot of people do share their IMDb, and of course they do that share for share, where it's like, hey, you know what, review me, or at least go through the, click on the link and follow up and pick something out, put it out there, and it does help. I mean, those ratings are out there for a reason, man. I mean, a lot of people aren't. I guess when they're up there, they don't really look at IMDb because they've already made it and they have a name and they're established,
Yeah.
so they're like, okay, you know what? Not they know who I am, but I mean. For this being your first lead role, man, I mean, yeah, it's gonna get better, bro, and I'm excited for you, man. Happy for you, man.
Well, I did bring a copy of the rules for you to see.
Oh man, brother. Ooh, man, you see, I don't even know if I can go past one, bro. Is
So
that the
yeah,
actual
it was
movie?
actually a lot of fun. It really was, and it was a little creative. It was Mauser's first time at actually doing a horror film.
Oh,
So I
nice.
think, critical as I was of myself with the performance, um, I think he was even more critical of himself as a director. You know, I totally get it because he's a perfectionist. He's an instructor. At Paulo Vista College. Brett Mauser has done over 100 films,
Yeah.
and to his credit, this I got the golden opportunity to do this first horror film,
Nice.
and at the end of the day, all I hope is that he enjoyed the production and the fans like it, and don't be afraid to get on Amazon Prime when it comes out for Halloween because it'll be Halloween ready for everybody. So please check it out.
No, no, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, like I said earlier, man, the trailer is out there, so they can go out there, look for it on YouTube. Go to the website, definitely click on it, drop their review. See what they liked, didn't like. I mean, of course, they liked it, but yeah, man. Well, let me ask you this, because earlier you were saying you were more afraid of as far as the review itself. Are you going to be one of those guys where you're going to be looking and see how many clicks or how many times, or I mean,
Honestly, I don't. I don't. I think the director does that more than I do. I'm constantly trying to strive for more work and just to
right,
stay busy. Like I said the last podcast, I'm a true believer you're not a working actor unless you're a working actor.
right,
So
right.
I try to constantly stay doing commercials or doing film or something. I just like 2 months ago, no, maybe it was only a month ago, we did the Texas Dot commercial. Um, so we'll be in the Texas health systems again. And last year, I got to be on the side of a Via bus. So this year, I'm hoping for the billboard. So we'll see what happens.
Nice, man. No, bro, and I was gonna say too, during high school, I remember one of my classmates, just he was like a dirty biker, back in the day, and then like one day he was like, yeah, man, I'm on TV, or he brought it up, and I was kind of curious, but he used to volunteer, and they used to use him as a suspect for like the SAPD, right? And so he was always on TV like wanted, and I was like, bro, like I was thinking like, man, I don't know, that's the kind of plugs you want to do, man, because people are gonna be looking at you like, hey, that's that guy. But there's opportunity out there, man. I mean, for of course, when you're working your way up like you have been, I mean, it's gonna, some people get it right away, man. I mean, a lot of times it's just the timing. It's got to be the perfect timing. It's got to be the perfect place. Like you mentioned, you got to stay busy. You got to stay consistent because
Yeah.
it's going to be one of those. And I've always asked actors when I get to see them at convention. I say, man, is there a time when you were already working in contract and all these people start calling and you're like, damn, like where were these guys like a month ago or a week ago? And so it's going to be one of those times, man, because once they start calling you in, you're going to have to start not so much turning people down, but just kind of like, hey, we got to do it another time or see what works.
Yeah, I feel like when that moment happens, then that's when I can actually find a manager, get
Yeah.
an agent, and cross those paths. I just, like we talked about last time, about trying to um, create your path, but be strategic with it.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I think a lot of people get ahead of themselves when they get agents and managers too early, um, and they don't have that steam behind them. And for me, I really want to I want to build my resume so deep that it's undeniable, you know. And
Nice.
and I think at the end of the day, if I can get, my goal is getting 100 films, and
Nice, man.
and I'm getting close to I'm over the halfway mark at this point, but I would really like to get to about 75 films, and like maybe slow it down a little bit and make sure that I'm picking the right choices for those last 25 films to try to get on the best work possible.
No, it makes sense, bro. I mean, of course, this is your resume. This is something that not only yourself but other directors or writers are going to be looking at. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, the last 25 just kind of finished strong. I agree with you on the whole agent thing because even in the fight game, there's a lot of combat sports guys. When it comes to MMA, and they kind of jump that. I would say they jump it too early to where they're still trying to get that experience. A lot of times it varies in life. There is a lot of times that's who you know, man. And I'll say that right now because sometimes fighters get fights too early, man, and they get smashed, bro. And it's just like,
Sure.
okay, you know what? Yeah, they had that management name and they get put out there, and it's just it doesn't happen. And those are the things that I always tell these fighters now. Like, man, I mean, if you're a wrestler, you know what? Go up against the boxers, against the kickboxers. I mean, get that out of the way. That way, when you go pro, it's like, dude, I fought like kickboxers. I mean, I fought everybody, and you're ready to go, man. You got that experience because a lot of times fighters kind of they don't know. I'll say it, man. I mean, they dodge certain fighters because they don't want to lose, and they lose that experience, bro, doing that. Especially the amateur
Yeah.
circuit, man. I mean, the amateur circuit, man. I think go crazy. It doesn't count once you go pro. So, a lot of these youngsters sweat it, and I'm like, man, just get that experience. That way, that time you go pro, and like yourself, man. Once you hit 75 and you're ready to go, man, it's gonna be okay. You know what? This is what I want to finish it off with. You know what? Let's go strong, like you said, and
Yeah.
let me ask you this, bro. I mean, when it comes to what you're going to be picking, is it going to be different genres, or are you sticking to one specifically?
No, I honestly, I feel very versatile. And I've always, kind of prided myself to where I am a chameleon and I can kind of like adapt to whatever situation I'm in. There's still a couple roles that I have not done yet. And I think when the time is right, it'll come to me. But at this moment so far, like I really do believe that I'm hitting where I need to hit as force with my talent. But I'm waiting for that badass martial arts film to really showcase my martial arts talents. I haven't done that yet. I really do believe that the right type of western, where I'm actually a cowboy and not a native, would be kind of cool. Or just not even so much a cowboy, but maybe a trapper. Somebody in that retrospect to kind of like give a different vibe instead of just being that stereotypical native that's doing films,
Right,
uh,
right.
and being mixed. I'm being Polynesian. I'm Polynesian, Japanese, and Hawaiian and Cherokee. It's kind of like I want to be able to branch out and do whatever, and not be labeled into just being in the native community. Mad respect to my natives that do it, but for me, because I am mixed, that's always kind of joke around. It's like, where's the lane for the half breeds? Like everybody wants to be oh, I'm the pure blood. I'm the pure blood, but that's great. But what about us half breed people that have a little bit of everything and we have, multiplicity of talents? So I would like to create a lane for us.
Okay, well, yeah, dude, that makes sense, bro. Because a lot of times, I mean, you do get a typecast, and that's one of the things that a lot of actors, of course. I was talking to Courtney Gaines, from Children of the Corn. Of course, he's done many other films, and I told him, I said, man, how did you go from being a Children of the Corn and coming out in colors and coming out and he was just like, man, it was strategy, man. I just made it to where I don't want to get typecast and I wanted to do a little bit of everything. And he said it worked out, and it did, I mean, he was able to, in colors, play the Whitey. I think that was the name he went under. But he got to mix it up and do a little bit of everything, man. And he had fun with it. And I mean, even now, he's doing events. He's actually in music and playing in a band and all that great stuff, man. But I mean, you're around the same lane to where you're like, okay, you know what? I want to do a little bit of everything, put myself out there, give people choices as far as like what parts come out, and they're like, you know what, this guy, he can play this part, or he can play, and just go that route, man. So I feel you,
Yeah,
man. That's actually some great stuff.
I'm excited. This winter, we have a couple productions coming up. I'm sure you've seen the pictures for the Cowboy Vampire Redemption.
Oh yeah.
Um, we have that one coming up. I'm excited to work on that production. I've
Nice.
never done anything where they're doing it in Real Engine. Well, I guess I did. We did Imperium by Zach Cardenas, but this is going to be a full feature, so it's kind of cool. And I always love my vampire stuff. And then we're supposed to be doing the Vaqueros of Hawaii,
Yeah.
and that's a take on the Paniola Cowboys and how the Escaderos came together and
Yeah.
how that basically became a thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Marcus Davila is doing that, the
Oh
director from
yes, bro.
American Coyote. So yeah, we have that one coming up this summer. Um, but yeah, it's just trying to branch out. My biggest thing is that I want to work in every single state in the United States. And if I could work with every single film director and at least one director in every state, that
Bro.
would be like sick, you know?
Man, I never thought about that, but that, yeah, because I'm the same way. And of course, once again, when it comes to combat sports, like I look for promotions that are in every state because a lot of states don't have media, dude, for some reason, you know. So I want to kind of like plug in that spot and just kind of like help out when I can. But man, I mean, well, let me ask you this: how many states have you worked in?
So I've worked in Florida. I've worked in, of course, Texas. I've worked in Louisiana, Oklahoma,
Damn.
uh, LA, Vegas. Um, let's see. I think we did something in Louisiana, but I think that's it so far. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Man, and for that, I mean, do you have a like a post? What do you call it? A map poster at home? Are you plugging this in, or what do
No,
you?
actually, no. That's actually a good idea. I probably should do that. Yeah.
That could be like your visual board. You can be okay. Where am I going to work at next month? You know, and just start plugging in and looking for people, man. I actually got. Let me show you real quick, man. I got David
Hey,
Vela, man.
Dave,
He's on there, brother,
that's my boy right there, Mr. Vela.
bro. And let me ask you, man, because
Raider, legend, Hall of Famer.
bro. And let me ask you too, man, because when it comes to projects, man, and working with, I mean, when it comes to the local community, man, I mean, I've been seeing a lot more lately, but it seems like a lot of people are rubbing elbows, and I'm excited about that because I'm like, man, you know what? It's just gonna empower, like we talked about it before too, man. I mean, San Antonio in a whole, you know, to where people
Yeah.
are like, man, these guys are actually, you know, producing and bringing stuff out, man, because I mean, you guys are killing it, man. You guys, you know, when it comes to films and work and being out there, man. I mean, you guys are actually doing everything that you know, whatever it takes to be able to produce these movies, these films, shorts, you know. And let me ask you, bro. I mean, when it comes to feature films, are you more of a like a short guy when it comes to films or feature?
No, no, I'd rather do features at this point. You know, we just did Garden Valley. It was a short film that I helped out with. Um, and that was a cool story, and that was a true story about a serial killer from San Antonio.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed doing that because again, it's always like I don't smoke cigarettes, and I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but I had to smoke a cigarette 9 times on that film. So it's small little things like that, those little bitty challenges that I've never done, just as a person, but to actually challenge the character,
Right.
is always fun. And it reminds me because my mom was a smoker, so I was like, what did my mom do when she did this, or how did she, there's just
How
body
did she
language.
hold it? How did she light it? You know, it's just like so many different things. And I'm the same way, man. When I grew up, and I think everybody during that era, early '80s, man, everybody was smoking. You know, my mom used to smoke. I mean, she quit cold turkey. You know, thank God, because growing up, man, I still have allergies, but I couldn't understand why I was always sick and coughing, and I always thought it was a cold, and my mom thought it was a cold, and it turned
Well,
out I
you
was like,
remember they used to lock us in the car and drive down the street with smoke in the car, and the car was so smoked up you couldn't see out the windows.
man, I was gonna say, and of course, windows up and the one baby in the front on mom's lap. You know, it's like back in the day, brother. I'm telling you, man. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things. And I mean, I never picked up cigarettes, man, or anything else for that matter. And it's just, you know, it's like I told people, the only thing that smokes in my house is my truck. That's it, man. Everything else, man, no more, brother. But man,
Yeah.
but let me ask you, this is gonna be the golden ticket, bro. Say there's a feature film and they come looking for you and they're like, hey, you know what? You would have to cut your hair for that part, bro. Pays
Ooh,
good, road's good.
depends on the payday.
Nice,
I'll,
nice.
I'll be honest. It depends on the payday. If the money's right and it's feasible for my family, then I would do it. But it had to be just because. as a native warrior, like it's more spiritual than it is anything,
No,
you
no, for
know.
sure, man.
And I've cut my hair several times in my life, and I always grow it back,
Yeah.
you know.
Nice, nice. I was just curious about that because I said, man, it's gonna be. I mean, who knows, man? I mean, when it comes to makeup and what they're doing now, I mean, you probably would never have to, but
Yeah,
some directors out there might be like, man, let me see how much it'll cost to get this cut. That's when they bring out that checkbook, man. Make sure there's a lot of zeros behind it, bro.
absolutely. And that's the thing. I wouldn't do it for a project that I know that's not going to climb over the hill. It would have to be like we were discussing last time, doing a Marvel film or something
Bro,
that's got a definitely a huge platform behind it that would catapult me to that next level. Because to be honest with you, like, we can do all the independent films we want, but until the independent market really starts to take over Hollywood, it's never going to have the platform that Hollywood does. It's just not.
no, no, that's true, man. And let me ask you, because since we're in that topic, how do you see it growing? Because I mean, even like I said, I mean, I know it's been going on for years when it comes to indie films being out there. I mean, a lot of people have been working on it. Same thing, man. For me, it seems like just this past year, it just seems like a lot more people have been doing it. Everybody's kind of like, hey, you know what? It's not that. I don't want to say it's not that hard, but it's just like, okay, if everything aligns and they have the equipment and the people, they can go out there
Not
and
to
make it.
throw names out there, but Elon Musk, if you're watching,
There you
how
go,
about you buy a television network and start putting us independent filmmakers in the
bro.
spotlight?
Dude, bro, that I mean, that would be genius because for one thing, I mean, everybody want to tune in just to be able to watch, indie films and see what's out there, man. And I mean, who knows, bro? Let me. I'm gonna tell you a quick story, man. I sponsored an event called Art of War. We went to Austin. From there they invited us to go to Dallas Art of War, and they were asking for a lot of money, man. And I was like, man, you know what? We just did, so many thousand here. That's all we can afford. The guy's like, hey, we'll do the same thing. We'll put you on there. We'll put you as one of the sponsors. Okay, cool, man. So we coughed it up. 2 months later, we're in Dallas. I'm not big when it comes to sports, but the guy's like, hey, man, this is so and so. Hey, this is Mark. Hey, how you doing? I'm taking everybody's hand. I'm sitting down next to this guy, jeans and a shirt, and we're talking, MMA, and I'm like, dude, like, and he's like, man, is this big? And I'm like, bro, this is huge, bro. Like, and I used the term, and I always use it, but I said, man, you could be having like, two of the best basketball teams going at it, man, and somebody yells fight, you're gonna turn around because that's how strong that word is. And the guy's like, really? And I said, yeah, bro. I said, dude, I mean, it's gold, And so months later, man, I'm watching TV, and they're like, yeah, so and so owner of, so and so. He's like Mark Cuban, and I was just like, holy crap, dude! I was sitting next to Mark Cuban that whole time, bro. I had
Wow.
no idea who he
Interesting.
was. He was in a t-shirt. He was in jeans. I'm telling them about our website back then called TexasFighting.com, which we still have, and how we wanted to build a network so we could stream all the regional fights from Texas and Oklahoma. And I was like, dude, people tune in. Well, fast forward like not even a year later, man, he ends up buying HDNet fights. And guess what he does, bro? He streams freaking worldwide, dude. Like, I mean, promotions from outside the country. I mean, he had the money, dude. So what I'm saying is, yeah, Elon Musk can definitely afford it, man. If he were to, I'll tag him. I don't know if he can, he's always on X, so I'll put it out there. But yeah, man, I mean, it would make sense, and I'm sure, I mean, he could write it off too, so it's not gonna cost him anything.
And not just that, I just think that it would, you know, it's one of those things for us independent filmmakers that, if you're really about like bringing dreams to fruition and putting that talent, that raw talent out there for the world to see. Tubi does it already, but it's starting to get limited on Tubi. And anybody that knows that's distributing their films at this point, it's very hard. So it's getting harder and harder for the independent filmmakers because, and I honestly believe it is because of Hollywood wanting to kind of stay in the spotlight, and it's understandable. They worked so hard for so many generations to do what they do, but at the same token, like, we're working hard now. We're putting in the work now. So, like, I would, if I don't cross over to the Hollywood side of things, then I would love for the opportunity for the independent filmmakers to have their own lane.
Nice, man. Yeah, we should definitely start a petition, man. Let's get something going, bro. 'Cause I mean, that's a great idea, man. I mean, like everybody's out there working hard, like you said, trying to get these films to the viewers. I mean, of course, when it comes to social media, it does help, but for the most part, man, I always tell people social media. I love it because you can get things across right away, and at the same time, you can get things lost because so much stuff is popping up. People on their phone just swiping. I mean, they're going through everything so quick that they don't stop and see what the link is, or people don't click on much. So yeah,
And
man, that would be
that's
great.
the sad thing to me is because we do put in this time, we do put in this work, and people have gotten so fast with that, mentally, physically, and emotionally, that it's hard for people. I hear people tell me all the time, it's hard for me to sit down and watch a movie anymore.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's
I
like,
was doing it to where, like, I mean, I wake up in the morning. I think I said it the last time. I wake up and I put something on, and I'm watching it when I can, getting ready for work. At work, in between breaks, I'm throwing something on real quick, and people send me links, and I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm trying to get as many in as possible, and yeah, bro, it is hard, man. I'm not gonna lie.
well, we both got to sit down and do a view party when Skate to Hell comes out, because
No, bro, yes, yes, and I'm actually looking forward to that, man. I mean
yeah.
that film within itself, dude, that was funny. It's got the plot, the actors are on there yourself, man. I'm looking forward to
Are you
watching it.
going to red carpet when they have it?
No, man, I know. I messaged Philip. I know I get those email notifications, man, and I always message him as far as because I still gotta submit my part for that. But it's just when it comes to that, man, I think I'm worse than um like I don't know. I'd probably get more nervous than you guys, and you guys are the actors, bro. I mean, I'd probably be like, man, I don't want to see myself, bro. I don't want to
We
look.
got to plan a trip and get out there.
Let's go, dude. We'll drive out there, man. I'll get up. Nah, I don't want to drive. Have you ever driven to California, bro? Have you driven out there?
I've driven. Yeah, it's a too long a drive. We'll
Yeah.
fly.
I was gonna say, man, because I've done road trips. I've done to Florida. From here, we went to Idaho, went to Vegas, came back, and dude, that was like in 1 week, bro. I mean, I went to work, and it took me like 2 weeks to get that jet lag, bro. It was freaking
Yeah.
crazy, but yeah, I agree, man. And of course, man, when that does happen, man, I hope, I mean, I hope it's something. I
I'm
mean, I know
hoping Sean, they put together a red car. I think they will. There's just too many celebrities in that
yeah,
film,
I was
so
gonna say,
there
man,
would be no reason why they shouldn't do a red carpet for that film. So
yeah. No, no, for sure, man. And yeah, I mean, I'll leave it up to you guys, man. That'd be great to just go live, bro. Like, send me a little something, man. We'll see. But man, but of course, I mean, when it comes to films, dude, like you said, there's a lot of projects that you worked on. On this year alone, how many films have you worked on?
I think at this point I'm at like 55 films.
Okay, but just in this year?
Oh, this year alone. Oh, that's a good question. Two. I think I've done 6 projects this year.
Oh, okay. And of course, I mean, the year's still young, right? So you still got.
Yeah, and we're still Gabriel is still working on King of the South. We haven't finished that up. That's another project that's kind of, I'm waiting for them to catch up. They're doing some other filming right now, so I can finish out my scenes for that. But yeah, we have a lot of projects over the hill still, and I know that who was it? There was somebody else that just reached out to me. Um, the Cyber Chronicles.
Okay, okay.
Joe
Yeah.
Salinas, yeah, he had reached out to me about a future project coming up. They're going to be doing a rom com, so
Oh,
I'm
nice.
actually excited about that because I love doing comedy stuff.
Dude,
Yeah.
and I was gonna ask you too, man. I mean, when it comes to comedy, man, I mean, because on this last one, I mean, of course, that you're the lead in. I mean, you're out there crying, you showed a lot of emotion, man. So I mean, is there a preference, bro? I mean, would you rather do one more than the other and not to close anything up because people are watching?
At this point, no. I mean, I'm I, I'm game for anything. Like
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I would want to do a Tu Wong Fu, but but I would definitely pretty much be up for pretty much anything at this point. Like
Yes.
as long as it's tasteful and it's well produced, like my biggest thing is the production level and making sure the production level is clean.
Right.
Um, because I want it to last forever. I don't want to just do things to do them. I want to do them so that they're memorable.
No, man. I was gonna ask you too because on this one film, I mean, like I posted the image earlier, man. For those that are watching, and seems about everybody's on Instagram right now, dude. So that's great. But having the lead, bro. I mean, you said it was less than a week. So where was everything filmed at?
So we filmed in a cabin out in Sabinal, Texas,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and it's a hunting lodge out there. They have 12 acres of property, and it's just, I mean, we were able to shoot everything in that one location, and just have free reign on the property where it was quiet. We didn't have a bunch of
Yeah.
sound issues. Yeah, it was a lot of fun because, like I said, it just kind of went really smoothly. We got in, we shot it, and you know, time will tell how people like the film because it's definitely, out of seeing so many horror films in my life and then being in so many different horror films, I really do believe that Don't Break the Rules is in its own lane when it comes to stylism, and the storyline. And he took a little bit of tidbits from different types of films, but he didn't make it blatantly where you see yourself. It's like, oh, that's from that one film. It was
Yeah.
nothing to that persona. So that's why I personally liked it. Outside of me being an actor in the film, just the storyline itself, like you really hate my character in the beginning of the movie. You just do. You're just like, hurry up,
Right.
kill that guy already.
Right.
Like,
Right. He's still alive. Come on.
yeah.
Man, and of course, I mean, this is, for those that are watching, I mean, don't break the rules, like we mentioned earlier, man. It is going to be coming out this Halloween. So, everybody, of course, and it's going to be on Prime, you said?
Yeah, it'll be on Amazon Prime
Amazon Prime?
first. I think they'll run that for a month or two, and then it goes to Tubi after that. But Not So Sane Entertainment, Brett Mauser presents Don't Break the Rules, starting your boy.
There you go, man. And let me ask you, man, I mean, because it is your first lead, man. So, do you feel, I mean, obviously you are happy about it, but do you feel like you're on cloud nine and you're kind of like, okay, you know what? Like,
It's I'm waiting to see what the audience thinks
okay, okay.
before I can actually have a real, true emotional uh, overall feeling for it. Right now, it's nice to have that under my belt and to have that out of the way, so that now I can just move on and know that I can actually bring it to the table, being the main of a film. The biggest thing whenever I watch a film that somebody's a lead in, I try to watch the film and I think to myself, do I enjoy them from the beginning of the film to the end of the film?
Nice.
And I can't say that I've watched every film where somebody's been the lead in a film and I enjoyed them all the way through the film.
Man,
There
okay.
was something in the film that just kind of like didn't do it for me. But then you have films like American Psycho
Yeah.
that from the beginning of the movie till the end of the movie,
Oh,
it was great. You
yeah.
know, Snatch is another movie where it just from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, I enjoyed it. You know,
Man,
you get Edward Scissorhands is another movie
yeah.
from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. You know, so if I can portray that as a leading actor, where I can keep my audience engaged from the beginning of the film to the end of the film, and they actually see my character for what I developed, then I've successfully, portrayed the character that I've kind of built upon and that the director wrote.
Nice, man. Man, that's technical, bro. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, being a writer, a director, a producer yourself, man. I mean, I can see where that comes from because I mean, obviously, if you're writing something and you do have a lead, I mean, you kind of want that, lead to portray the character you have in mind, right?
Yeah. Well, the the writing is key, and I really do believe that when the writing comes together, it allows the actors to kind of bring their very best. When the writing falls short, then the audience almost, I can honestly say, the audience can feel it, whether if it's in the middle of the film or the end of the film. When it slows down, you're watching a movie like, oh God, this is dragging on. Then the lead characters lost you.
Yeah, yeah,
They really have. And whether if it's the lead character's fault or if it's the writing is a determining factor of that,
nice. No,
because
and that's
there's been what, how many Star Wars films at this point? But
yeah,
like if we were going to compare the new stuff to, Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, it's a different. It
yeah.
just feels different. It reads different. Like the life just isn't the same, and I don't know if that's from the characters or is that from the writing.
It's a good point. Oh yeah, because I agree. I mean, because when it comes to Star Wars or even remakes, like I'm not a big fan of remakes. I'm afraid to watch them just because, man, I don't want to be let down. And
That's why I didn't watch The Crow.
yeah, yeah, I still haven't seen it, man. And I'm like, people are like,
Yeah.
oh, it was good, and oh, it was bad, and I'm like, man, I'm okay with the original, bro. Like, I'll be happy with that. I'm gonna take that forever. But yeah, but that's the same thing with a lot of films, And like I said, I mean, a lot of times, it takes maybe a few weeks after it's out that I hear, and I don't go by people's review because some people might hate it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go check it out, and I will, and a lot of times I do like them, man. But it's just, yeah, it makes sense because I mean, for me personally, um, I mean, I'll give them that much respect, man. Like I'll sit in the theater and I'll watch the whole film, even after they lost me, and I'm like, damn. Like once I start hearing noises or I can hear the kid in the far end crying or paper crumbling, then I know I'm lost. I'm like, damn, dude,
Yeah.
like they lost me, and so I'll just sit there and see if I can follow through, and and it's happened a lot. Like this year alone, there's films out there that did that to me. I just didn't get captivated. I didn't, storyline went everywhere, and I was lost, brother.
Well,
But
like I watched Beetlejuice, and I really enjoyed that film.
I haven't
I
seen it yet.
felt I felt like Tim Burton is very smart,
Yeah.
because if you think back to the original Beetlejuice, the one race that it didn't appeal to was the African American race.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this film gave tribute to that, and it drew in a different verse of audience, and I felt that was very clever. To see that mistake, then correct that mistake from the past. And then I enjoyed, he really, um, he took in a little bit of Fellini isk in some of the scenes, and I thought that was very very slick, for him as a writer and director, to be able to pull those traditional old school glorious classic films and modernize it, but yet give his take to it. I thought that was very slick.
Nice, man. No, yeah, and that's one. Like I think I'm like four or five films behind. Like I'm still like trying to catch up. I mean, we're talking about watching indie films and just films in general, man. Like I
Yeah.
still got to catch up a little bit. But yeah, whenever I get an opportunity, like I mean, after work, I go straight to the theater and sit down and watch it, and then come home. But it's been a while, bro. I'm not gonna lie, but it's I'll catch up eventually, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I mean, of course, Halloween Day, man. I mean, when it comes, you said it's going to be released on Halloween. So is that going to be
Yeah.
like in the morning? Or is it going to be available?
I'm hoping I get that text message that maybe even a few days before, because I know at this point he already submitted it. Literally last week he submitted it to the stream. So I'm pretty sure that they're gonna debut that, as one of the Halloween movies this year for
Right.
Amazon Prime release. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how people enjoy the film.
No, of course, man. And I mean, on Halloween, I know there's a couple of big movies coming out on Halloween as well, man. So it is going to be a busy day. But yeah, dude, I mean, I would definitely say, if anything, that day, I mean, people definitely, go to Amazon Prime, check it out, dude, and, enjoy the film, man. I mean, you obviously have fun with it, The fact that you are a seasoned actor, man, you've been doing a lot of projects. I mean, this is your first lead, but I'm sure, man. I'm sure you put a lot of emotion and a lot of experience into that role, man. So that's definitely looking forward to watching that, bro.
What's crazy about that film was not just the fact that we knocked it out in 4.5 days, but we literally only had 2.5 weeks on that script.
Damn.
And I never had like that short amount of time to really kind of dissect a character and to try to really like find where the emotional attachment was for that role. But I feel that after I've watched the production and with it being such a short amount of time, like I'm very thankful that I have been working and staying busy and honing my craft and sharpening my tools because I don't think I would have been able to pull it off if I hadn't been
Nice.
seasoned at this point.
No, yeah, especially in 2 weeks, man. I mean, that's no pressure, right?
Yeah.
Let me
It's like,
ask
are
you. I
you
mean,
ready? We're ready to shoot. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Yay.
and man, let me ask you because when they presented you this, I mean, what was your first reaction, bro? I mean, were you kind of like, okay, let's see how this goes?
um so when he said it to me, I was like, yeah, I'm down. And then there's just that awkward pause where it's like, but when are we shooting? Like how
No, what
soon
are
are
you
you
doing
talking
later?
about? Because I know this director, he's one of those people, the minute he says something, then the ball's already rolling in his head. So it's like, oh, let me hold on, let me put my seatbelt on because this is gonna be a quick one.
Man, bro, and of course, I mean, being away from home. I mean, did you guys stay out there for those 4 days? Right?
Yeah. That was interesting. Um yeah, never take gummies with you when you're on a film set. Um First and foremost, to any actor out there, yeah, edibles are not good practice on film sets.
Man, bro, and how was the weather out there, man? I mean, I'm sure the heat was it cold?
Yeah, it was hot, definitely hot. And that's the thing, right? In any production you do, especially here in Texas, like
Oh yeah.
you have to understand that your luxuries of life when you're on a film set aren't luxuries of life, especially when it's independent films. So like you have to just kind of suck it up, and as you were saying earlier, our generation, Generation X, we had a lot rougher than a lot of other people. So, you know,
Oh yeah. And I always tell people this, man, because I mean, growing up like that, like when I got hired on as a postal employee, like they were like, oh, it's gonna be hot, and I was like, dude, my dad's been driving around in his car for years, I'm ready for this, bro. Like it was just, it was hot. I mean, we started in June when I first got picked up and went out there, and it was, but I mean, but I honestly feel like I was like, dude, like my whole life I've been training for this, and it was bad, but it wasn't too bad. I was able to like keep going, and a lot of people quit, man. They hired like, I think for that one station, which was out there in the southeast side in Highland Hills, man, they hired like 14 employees. And within a month and a half, bro, there was only two of us left, bro. Everybody quit, man. It was hot, dude. Like people were dropping left and right. And me and the other guy just stuck with it, man. And I was like, damn, like, but yeah, bro. I mean, it is hot. I mean, Texas, dude. And let me ask you, because on one of the shoots here, man, that Marcus Davila, they did last week, and they were saying the mosquitoes were bad, bro. So how were the bugs out
yeah,
there, man?
we didn't really have that much of a problem with mosquitoes. We had more like mud dabbers
Yeah.
flying around us and chiggers. The chiggers were pretty bad out.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. You
Yeah.
see, I've lived. I think in the Lido, we had a house like that, man, in the yard, bro. Not good, man. Not good. But yeah, man. But of course, I mean, I'm sure you were glad to come home and jump in the room with AC, right?
Yeah. I was well. I was ready to get home to my better half.
Oh, of
She
course,
was
of course.
probably pulling out her hair, like thinking I'm thinking the worst. Like, but she's very understanding, and she knows that when I'm on set, strictly business. I'm doing my thing, and I get home to her as soon as I can. Um, I think this was actually the first time that we've actually been apart while I was filming, besides when I did Skate to Hell.
Oh, okay, okay. I mean, when you went out there for Skate to Hell, how long were you guys out there, or were you out there?
I was only out there for a night. I flew out the day before, stayed the night, and then flew back the next day.
Oh, okay, okay, cool, man. And did you get to skateboard in that movie? Let me ask you.
No, no, I was actually Satan's right hand man. So
Oh, nice.
I was in the hell pit with him.
Nice, bro. And of course, man. I mean, when earlier, I mean, I saw you post a video of you doing this nice roundhouse kick, man. So is that you telling the world you're ready for an action movie, bro?
Yeah, I I have a first degree black belt in Taekwondo, Muay Kwan. And that's the thing. It's like it's funny because I really haven't gotten to showcase any of my martial arts in films yet, and I'm just waiting for that moment for the right film. Well, we did Domino, and I did stunt work for that,
Yeah,
and I got beat up a lot in that film, but I didn't get a showcase, you know. So
right.
it's I really want to be able to be, you know, a principal character in a film
Nice.
and have some solid fight scenes that, you know, some John Wick stuff would be sick.
Oh, damn, hell yeah, dude. No, bro. And that's the thing too, because when it comes to your reels, man, is that some of the stuff that you put out there when people are looking for actors?
Yeah, absolutely. I have two separate reels. I have my acting reel and then I have a stunt reel. So it's very important to be able to show as much versatility as you can as an actor. And I think a lot of people they 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 do it to themselves when they go through that stereotypical phase of liking what they like. And it's not about what you like; it's about what you think that that director's going to want to like. And you
Right.
got to really take yourself out of the retrospect and try to look into the mind of the people that you're submitting to. That's why, like all the little bitty details, whenever somebody puts up an audition, like you have to really look into the where are they located? What is that director like? What is his environment like? For an example, when I did Albert and Claude, that one's on Tubi, by the way. Um, Alex Filmworks production. Um, I looked at his page and I was like, oh, okay, well he's an instructor in film. He's Florida State University out there. I mean Jacksonville University. Like I'm thinking when I did the audition, I was like, okay, so how can I really kind of give this character life so that he sees past the travel? You know what I mean? Because being here in Texas, sometimes directors will be like, oh, I
Yeah, be
love your
local.
performance, but you're just too far away. I can't afford to have you flying out. So you got to really kind of dig and do your homework a little bit
Yeah,
whenever you're auditioning for something so that you can kind of give that performance that's life that's necessary.
nice, man. No, and I'm sure, man. I mean, when it comes to, I mean, roles, even like for this last one, I mean, you said you had to dig deep and look for some emotions or something to attach yourself to. Um, do you use music whenever you do auditions? I mean, is there something else that kind of like, okay, let me get in that mood or let me get in that zone?
No, honestly, I don't. I have a technique. It's called a 10 technique.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what acting book I read this in, but it's to perform the role in 10 different ways.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So like, and that's with accents, that's with a disability, that's with, you know, being emotional, being serious, being stern, and breaking down every single characterism you could find to kind of hone in where that direction is coming from in that script, because literally a script is a director directing you. You just got to really pay attention to the script.
Damn, never thought about that, but that's good advice, though. I mean, because yeah, I mean, well, let me ask you. I mean, when it comes to audition, do you send them like that? I mean, is this okay? You know what? Let me
No,
send
I
it.
won't send the 10 different ones, but what I'll do is as I'll record them
Right.
and then I'll watch them back and I'll take myself out of retrospect and I'll be like, okay, which one do I believe the most?
Oh, nice. Okay. Sweet. I like that.
You know, and as being a director myself, I feel I can kind of look at that and negotiate that in a professional sense and not be biased, you know?
No, heck yeah, dude. Well, I mean, that's brilliant, man. I mean, the fact that you can, dissect that and just look back and You know, I mean, it makes sense, man. I mean, like I said, you're in the same share. You know, there's times when you are the director. I mean, you know, let me ask you, when it comes to writing, I mean, I know the last time we spoke, I mean, writing, I mean, do you have a journal? Do you kind of keep something? I mean, ideas for not just movies, but maybe characters that you want to portray someday?
I use a thing on my phone called Jotterbox,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
and basically, if something pops in my head, I'll get on there and type out a synopsis, and then if I got free time, I'll kind of chop it out and just have that in the background. And then if I really like the concept of the story, I have a script right now that I just gave to Sabrina Trevino.
okay,
It was my first screenplay that I wrote. It's called Laugh Now, Cry Later. It's it's a woman empowerment uh, screenplay. Well, it's a script now, but it's a woman empowerment film. Um, and it's about five women lives that come together uh by chance, like consequence. And it's kind of like I always kind of stated it as it's Set It Off meets Dead Presidents meets Charlie's Angels.
nice.
But I knew that once I wrote it, I told myself, I said, being honest with myself, I was like, I can't direct this. And the reason being is because I really didn't think that an audience would appreciate a film, a woman empowerment film directed by a man.
Yeah,
I
damn,
mean, it is what it is. Like, there's, I don't feel that all lines should be blurred.
right.
If you get what I mean, you know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
definitely, man. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially. I mean, she's out there doing work too, so you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure she would do magic with it, and you know, find it within herself to actually do that because she's being empowered. You know, she's a woman herself, so that makes sense.
And
Yeah,
so we're going to collaborate on that project. That's we'll probably, once she's done with the Owl Witch, then we'll start kind of mapping out that and trying to get the cast together and locations and everything.
sweet,
Um,
bro.
but it's a very, very powerful film, and it's a story that needs to be told.
Nice. No, well, dude. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. Like I said, I mean, I've been working. I mean, of course, Marcos Davila and you know Sabrina, man. I have them on there, and you know, it's always a pleasure to when they invite me out. So I definitely take it for what it is, bro. And it's. I've been having fun, man. I mean, like I said, I mean, this is you guys, man. This is you guys doing work and doing what you do. For me to be able to go out there and actually get a lot of the behind the scenes and just watch people work has been a privilege, bro. Like I'm absorbing as much as I can, and you know, I mean, whether it becomes something for me, I'll take it, man. But otherwise, I'm just gonna keep enjoying it, man. Having fun
So
with
I
it.
know you promote MMA, so I got a question for you. So do you fight?
No, I
Are
mean,
you
I
in
used
the fight
to.
game?
I'm sorry.
Are you yourself in the fight game?
No, I mean, I used to compete way
Okay.
back when, man. But I mean, towards the end, I was just teaching, and I was actually a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and I was
Okay.
teaching inside Wonderland Mall, man. But I was just doing gi, no gi.
Gotcha.
But I enjoyed it though, man. I mean, for me, it was always
So no
uh,
sneakers days.
no, hombre, bro. That was actually my instructor, man. He was actually out there doing the club fights and you know all
I
that
did it
crazy
one
stuff.
time. Yeah, I fought out there one time.
Yeah, yeah. You see, and I mean, there was actually this one guy. There was a time where I was still going to my instructor, but I had told him and I says, hey, this guy wants me to teach him on like on the weekends. And he's like, yeah, man, take get your money, you know. So I said, okay. So I'm teaching this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I got all these tapes of your instructor." And I was like, "What tapes?" And he's like, "Dude, all the fights." And he
Yeah.
had like a bunch of VHS tapes with all the fights that were happening out there, man. And I was like, I
Yeah.
lost touch with the guy, but you know, my instructor was always like, "Man, get those tapes," you know. But I was just like, "Damn, dude." But you know, for those that don't know, man, even here in San Antonio, you know, people are like, "Oh, you know,
That
ultimate
was the
fighter."
fight club back in the day.
Oh yeah, you know, on a freaking wrestling mat, man. And I mean, I was able to
Yes,
go out there one
yes.
time to watch, man. And after that, that's when they stopped it. But yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like old school, man. So definitely, the fact that you brought that up, dude. I mean, a lot of people, I tell people about that, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro. Like, you don't know about it. You don't know about that stuff, man. It was before they coined the term MMA. You know, back then it was
Yeah.
freestyle fighting. You know, vale tudo,
Yeah.
whatever we called it, man. yeah, bro. But I mean, when it comes to and I was gonna say this, man, because I just maybe it's been like almost like a week and a half, and I was just like, man, you know what? I want to start work. I've been working out again. You know, I got to go back tomorrow
Yeah.
morning. You know, just to stay limber, bro. I mean, just for myself, my health, but I definitely want to start being able to open myself. So if something does come up and they're like, hey, I need somebody to go through a wall, I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. You know, why not, man? Let me do
Yeah,
something. You know,
absolutely.
but yeah,
Well,
bro.
you
But I
know,
mean,
like I used to roll with Ambush Muay Thai,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and after COVID, well during COVID, I stopped doing it because like everybody was getting sick, and I was just like, dude, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick because at that time I was doing extra work for Walker and just trying to
Oh,
get out there and get established when all that happened, and especially when I just moved back from Hawaii. So I was like, man, like, do I continue rolling and try to do some Naga stuff or keep doing my film thing? So I'm happy with the direction I chose, but I do miss it. I miss those grind sessions of just being dead on that mat and
bro. Yeah.
exhausted.
You see, and that's what I tell people even now, man. Like for me, especially in fights, you know, I see a fight and they're both tired, and then after the bout ends and the other guys all jumping around, and I'm like, dude, where was all that energy like a few seconds ago, man? Like, you know, if you can still jump around and do all that stuff, I said, then you didn't leave it out there, man. You know what I mean? Like it just. But yeah, you know, that's one of the things for me. It's like, dude, if I do something, I said, I'm gonna get dragged out of there, bro, because I'm gonna leave everything on the freaking mat. You know, I don't want to be like, oh, okay, well, I could have gone an extra 5 minutes. Like, nah, man, I'm gonna
True.
throw everything in there and go, you know, try to go 100 as long as I can. But yeah, man. I mean, but when it comes to grappling, dude, I mean, I was actually affiliated with Carlson Gracie Senior. I was a purple belt through his affiliation. I mean, I did good, man. I enjoyed it. I loved it. You know, I was able to. I was doing like the first morning Brazilian Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, like in 2005. I had like a new team, and we had sponsors, bro. I was sponsored by Bad Boy Kimonos. I was sponsored by my friend here, you know, Geared Up Nutrition. I mean, we had like Academy Sports sponsored us, bro. Like,
Oh,
I mean,
I know Geared Up Nutrition. I was
yeah,
sponsored by them too when I
yeah.
bodybuilded.
No, yeah, and I remember seeing you on those flyers. I know we had a banner of his on there, and but yeah, dude, Big George, bro. That guy's always been 100, man. I love
Yeah,
that guy.
or just good people.
Yeah. No, no, for sure, man. And of course, you know, he was always in the mix and just, you know, getting his company out there. But it was one of those things because he would call me. He's like, hey, man, you know, so and so. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And they're like, dude, he's here. You know, he flew down from Vegas. He said he knew you. I was like, oh, shit. You know, he's like, man, people know you. And I'm like, bro, like, I was networking so hard for combat sports, bro. Like, I always tell people, like, I was the guy that when promoters, from fighters, from matchmakers were doing something here in Texas, dude, they would call me, bro. Like I was a guy that would get fights, that would get promotion, that would get venues. I mean, and people don't know it, man. Like I mean, I did a lot behind the scenes, and it's just like, man, I loved it because it's like, dude, I had like matchmakers. I had managers for fighters for Van de Silva. I had and I told people this, man. I mean, Dana White calling me at one time to sponsor Tito Ortiz, and it was just like crazy, dude. I was just like, okay, like, you know, before he became a UFC president and all that, man. So it was,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll take those with me, man, because it's like nobody can take that away from me, bro. Like I was out there, and it was just like when I started doing the whole media thing, people, they assumed I was younger because they were like, oh man, like, you know, not so much trying to bully me, but just kind of talk down to me. And I would have to tell them, dude, like, hey, bro, like I'm 30, bro. Like, you know, I don't know who you're talking to, man, but that's not me, you know, like, and they're like, oh, no, you know, like, but I was just like, man, I'm new to the media side. I said, I've been doing this shit since, you know, like you said, with sneakers and all those freaking underground fights, bro, and backyard fights, which I've actually done, and I wouldn't tell people to do because they suck. But
yeah. That was the crazy days, boy, when they were
yeah.
doing all that.
No, yeah,
You
dude,
know,
and those were all like, "Hey, you want to fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man." Like, you know, it's just nonsense, man. But yeah, bro. I mean, but let me ask you, bro. I mean, if there is a role, and you know, definitely get your fight team, man. I'll be the dummy, bro. You hit me, throw me, armbar, whatever, brother. We'll set it up, man.
well, just a fair warning. Be careful what you ask for because if you get in a scene with Ocho, he might have to beat you up a little
I
bit.
know, dude. I'm gonna have to take a real beating, bro. That's man, yeah. I've seen that guy put a beating on people, man. I don't know if I can fake that, dude. That'd be real.
Yeah, yeah. When we did
Yeah,
Dog's Life, it was funny because we did a scene with Fernando Mora,
yeah.
and Ocho comes down the hallway, and they're face to face, and Ocho tackles him, and he's like hit him, and Fernando stands up and he's like, "Hey, bro, I thought you were gonna throw fake punches."
So we're gonna keep it real, man. No, yeah, bro. I mean, but yeah, I mean, like I said before, dude. I mean, I'm local. I'm willing, and even if it's behind the scenes, bro. Like I would definitely go out there and just grab whatever you guys allow me to take. When it comes to photo, but keep me in mind, brother. But bro, anything you want to say before we wrap this up, my man? And I appreciate you jumping on here, bro.
Everybody out there, say special thank you to Mario. He did amazing job bringing me back on.
Yes, brother.
And man, it's just been an amazing journey. And all I can say to all you up and coming actors, keep grinding, keep striving, and don't forget the most important thing. Don't forget October 31st. Don't break the rules. Will be on Amazon Prime by Not So Sane Entertainment.
There you go, man. Everybody out there, of course, once again, Keekee Suki, my man, thank you for jumping on here. Don't hang up yet. Everybody out there, of course, once again, Spider here, Coming Soon Podcast. Till next time, follow up.